Well, guys, today we are looking at part 2 of the World War I Christmas Truce by Extra History. This one's for Letter from the Trenches. So just want to say, I'll say that for later. For now, if you want to watch the original video, the link is down in the description down below. And if you enjoy my content and want to help me out in any way, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. It would really help my small but humble channel grow, and I would appreciate it a lot. With that said, and now without any further ado, let's get to it, shall we? Let's watch World War I Christmas Truce Letters from the Trenches by Extra History.
This was a letter to a German newspaper in December of 1914. Yesterday there was a fierce and terrible onslaught of Christmas packages into our trenches. No man was spared. In the confusion, one soldier suffered a salami impaled straight into his stomach. Another had raisins from an exploding pastry fly directly into his eyes. A third had the misfortune of having a bottle of cognac fly into his mouth.
Oh, how devastating. The horror.
This little holiday special is brought to you by World of Tanks. Use the invite code ARMISTICE if you're a new player who wants to check out the game. World War I was a letter-writing war, one where pencil and paper were a soldier's line of communication with friends and family, and reading those letters provides some insight into what life was like in those trenches. So today, let's read some excerpts from those soldiers' holiday letters. Now, of course, none of us at Extra Credits have ever experienced being deployed over the holidays, so real quick, I want to hand the mic over to somebody who has. Here is Wargaming's military specialist, Richard Cutland, back again to give us a little insight.
In my 30 years of service, I was extremely fortunate to only spend around 6 Christmases away from home and family. The first was spent lying in a muddy ditch in Northern Ireland, where we had been ordered to set up an observation post to watch the comings and goings of a known IRA terrorist. Cold, wet, hungry and tired, watching someone else celebrate Christmas with family and friends. It was certainly a low point for us all. As a young soldier, the easiest thing to do was not think about it. It was merely another day amongst a multitude of other days. The real heartbreak occurred after marriage and children. It was wrenching to explain why Daddy would not be there on such a special day. Tales of helping Santa at the North Pole or having to feed the reindeer quickly wore thin as my children grew older and wiser. A soldier's wife has much to contend with, and my own wife's angst and worry during any operational tour was compounded when I was away for the holidays. The armies always tried their best if circumstances allowed. If you were near a headquarters, the chefs would knock up a Christmas dinner with all the trimmings. Well, perhaps not all, but they did their best with what was available. Unfortunately, sitting with 100 men wearing paper hats was not quite the same as Christmas dinner with your family. Yet we were all aware it was necessary to spend such periods away. And let's face it, it was part of the job. But it was always a killer to be told that a deployment was imminent and Christmas would be cancelled. So to all those servicemen and women who find themselves away for this very special time, I salute you and wish you and your families peace and happiness.
Thank you, Richard. Now let's set the scene.
Yeah, it's good to get insight from people, who are actually soldiers and stuff. Because that's rough, guys, like, I couldn't do that. I get homesick easily, you know what I mean? And, like, after a few days away from home, like, oh man, I want to go back to my room, Like, I can't imagine. And he said he's fortunate just to miss 6 Christmases. People miss way more than that, so I take it from that. So that's rough, man. You know what I mean? That's why I can't help but have respect for people who do go into the army and do that. We watch so many war videos and stuff on this channel, and it's definitely, interesting. I'm a huge nerd for seeing how, like, people use strategy and tactics to win battles and wars, but it's easy to forget, just how many of these soldiers are just regular people, like you and me, and who died and never got to return to their, friends and family. It really does bring into the mind the saying that war, it never changes, and it doesn't. It is one of the biggest tragedies in human history that, we just don't get along as a species, and we've killed each other so much, So it is sad, for sure.
It's Boxing Day, 1914, and Private Henry Williamson is writing home about the most extraordinary Christmas of his life. I'm writing from the trenches. In my mouth is a pipe presented by the Princess Mary. In the pipe is tobacco. Well, of course, you say, but wait. In the pipe is German tobacco from a German soldier. Yes, a live German soldier from his own trench. On Christmas Eve, both armies sang carols and cheered, and there was very little firing. The Germans called to our men to come and fetch a cigar, and our men told them to come to us. This went on for some time until a bold Tommy crept out and stood between the trenches, and a Saxon came to meet him. They shook hands and laughed. Thus the ice was broken. Our men are speaking to them now. German Corporal Joseph Wenzel was similarly amazed at the gathering, writing, "What I believed to be madness several hours ago, I could see now with my own eyes. Bavarians and English, until then the greatest of enemies, shook hands, talked, and exchanged items. A single star stood still in the sky directly above them, interpreted by many as a special sign from heaven. More and more joined."
With schizophrenia.
Yeah, I had heard about the Christmas star that showed up in this time, right? Very interesting.
Entire line greeted each other. For the rest of my life, I shall never forget this scene, which goes to show that human feelings continue to go on, even if, in these times, men do not know anything but killing and murdering. But not everybody held fire. British rifleman John Erskine's unit was fraternizing in no man's land when a soldier, disobeying his officer's order, shot one of the Germans. He writes, "The Germans immediately replied, and instead of firing on where the shot came from, they fired at the first person they saw. Unfortunately, this happened to be one of our corporals, who was shot through the head. A most regrettable fact connected with the affair was that he has 3 brothers in the battalion, and it must have had a disheartening effect on them. The Germans apologized, but it left a black mark on the day. Still, in many places, the peace held, until the generals ended it with artillery." The spirit of the Christmas truce would be rekindled the following year, albeit on a small scale. In December of 1915, French soldier Louis Barthas found himself in a spontaneous ceasefire when heavy rain forced both sides to abandon their trenches. He wrote, "Frenchmen and Germans looked at each other and saw that they were all men, no different from one another. They smiled, exchanged comments. Hands reached out and grasped. We shared tobacco, a canteen of coffee, or Pinard. One day, a huge devil of a German stood up on a mound and gave a speech, which only the Germans could understand word for word, but everyone knew what it meant because he smashed his rifle on a tree stump, breaking it in 2. Applause broke out on both sides. Meanwhile, our big shot leaders were in a...
Yeah, again, it's nice to just see the regular soldiers just realizing, yeah, we're just all people at the end. Having that empathy and seeing that we're not all so different, despite our differences, you know, whether it be in language or ethnicity or culture or whatnot. It really is. This is why I love this moment so much. It really is just a real humanizing moment in the midst of, well, one of the worst wars in human history, you know?
Führer. What in the Lord's name would happen if the soldiers refused to kill each other? German soldier Hermann Bauer, also present, was thinking much the same. He wrote, "The infantry does not shoot anymore, just the crazy artillery. The masters make war, they have a quarrel, and the workers, the little men, have to stand there fighting against each other. Is that not a great stupidity?" Once again, senior officers broke the truce with artillery and court-martial threats. The fighting began again, and Barthas would spend 3 more Christmases at war. The same was true for many others. In fact, Christmas of 1916 brought Canadian infantryman John McLean his first taste of combat. He wrote, "Dear Mother, I haven't written for over a week now, but I couldn't very well. We went into the trenches on Christmas Eve and were in for 6 days. It was not too bad at all, far better than I expected. All our fellows came out fine, except Jack Ivner, who got a machine gun bullet through the leg. The noise was awful, but a person will get used to that after a while. I spent Christmas Day in a dugout. If I live to be 300 years old, I will never forget this Christmas week. One night, I was going up a trench, and I saw a big gray cat sitting on the parapet. I'd like to tell you more, but I can do that when I get home. Now you are doing too much worrying. We are all right if a man is careful." A month later, he was dead.
Oh, that's
Meanwhile,
sad.
another Canadian, Jack Davy, was having a bittersweet Christmas. He had come home after months in a POW camp, only to find himself at a military hospital in Toronto, thousands of miles from his new fiancée. He wrote to her on Boxing Day. Darling Kitty, many thanks for the letter and the card with Christmas wishes. We had quite a snowstorm on Christmas Eve. It's quite a novelty to see a real white Christmas. Yesterday was a lovely day. On the whole, I had a good time, but I hope next year won't be such a disappointment for us, sweetheart. Surely this rotten luck of being separated at Christmas can't go on forever. 1 week has passed since I was measured for my leg. I wish that I could have it by the new year so I could start the year on both feet again. It will soon be 2 years since I walked like a human being. It seems a long time to talk about it, but I can picture those fields and imagine I can see the exact spot where I fell, as though it only happened yesterday. I guess it'll be a long day before I forget it. But I hope that all the dark days are behind us now, sweetheart. We just have to be happy and live long to make up for it all. As the war ended and the veterans trickled home, that is exactly what they tried to do. Yet their holidays spent in the shadow of dugouts would never fully leave them. There are...
Yeah, there's the idea of shell shock, right? Like, wasn't the term popularized at this point? I could be wrong about that, don't quote me. But yeah, when I hear the term shell shocked, it's often associated with World War One. I mean, and you know, like, there's the famous image of the soldier, the shell-shocked 1,000-yard stare. He has, like, this, like this face, this very haunting expression on him. You know the photo I'm talking about. But, yeah, it really is one of those, like, sad moments. Especially some of the treatment. Like, sometimes veterans, actually a lot of the time, sadly, veterans don't get treated the best when they return home. And, you know, a lot of World War One veterans as well didn't have it the best when they got back home. Especially in a time when we weren't fully aware of, like, PTSD and, like, the effects that soldiers went through. Like, a lot of these guys came back not okay and not really supported, so it really is a tragedy that they went through so much and had them essentially, when you think they should finally be at peace home, that a lot of them weren't. So it really is just tragic, you know what I mean? Like, those scars remained probably forever, and that's sad.
So many letters like these. Honestly, deciding which ones to include was the hardest part. But if this happened to capture your imagination, try something later. If you go home for the holidays, or if you happen to already be there, ask your relatives if they have any old letters lying around. It's possible that the next story from the trenches might come from your own family. Happy holidays, everybody. We'll see you next year.
Yeah, happy holidays, everybody. I hope you have a very happy one, and yeah, I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then, enjoy your time. God bless.